Hey guys, welcome to week 11. Sorry this video is going up a little bit later than normal, but like I said, I had some computer problems yesterday, but it seems to be all taken care of now, so hopefully you guys will have no problem seeing this. Okay, so today I want to get down to business and start to think about what is essentially our second to last week of class. Okay, so this is week 11 that we're going into, which is primarily a work week. Week 12 is our last full week of class, and then the semester ends the following, well, technically the semester ends next week, and the following week is quote unquote final exams. So what I want to do is I want to talk you through what should be your process for the next 2 weeks. Okay, so as you know, we're right now working on the research proposal, which means that you are basically taking everything that you've done this semester and putting it all together. Now, what I want to stress here is that you've already done the majority of the work. You've already written a literature review. As of your most recent blog post, you should already have a good draft of an introduction for this thing done. So essentially, your goal now is to just continue to develop that methodology section and the discussion, which is not a huge chunk of the paper, but it's more just you thinking about like, okay, what are the implications of the ideas that I'm proposing? Okay, so let's look at this in detail. Just to review, remember that your goal here is to use all of the research that you've done to propose a new idea or a new solution or a new approach to the topic, and then to a new approach to the topic that your experts are interested in. And so here are your sections, your introduction, your literature review, and these are pretty much the new stuff. Your methodology, like how will you accomplish or how will you enact your proposal, and then how feasible is it? What are some of the limitations? And so this is primarily the new stuff right here. How will you do this? And then what are the limitations that you foresee? Okay. All right, so here we are in week 11. Now, week 11 is going to be continuing to set you up to really do well on this project. And the first things that you should be doing are reading these two chapters. Now, developing an argument and selecting and integrating evidence are going to really put in clear terms or help you think about in clear terms like how to go about making a new argument, how to say something new essentially, and how to use evidence to support it. So if you think about everything that the authors and your sources are doing, they are coming up with a new idea and they're using evidence from existing conversations to support that idea. That's what you're doing now too. You're going to be acting as an expert. Now, in the developing an argument section, it's going to help you think about like what kind of argument we're making here. We're making what's called a proposal argument. So essentially, your idea here is that you are trying to inspire someone to take action. I propose that someone do this thing that will help solve the problem. In chapter 9, will help you kind of think about, okay, so now that I have this idea, what do I need to support that idea? Or what is my reader going to be looking for in order for this to be a compelling argument? And your blog post, which we'll look at right now, is going to help you get there as well. Real quick though, you'll see on Friday, I've got a group conference section. Now this is completely optional, but what's going to happen is I'm going to be starting around probably like 8 o'clock. I'll open up my Skype and I'll email out my Skype information. And it'll be open for you guys to call me up. We can chat, all that stuff. Now the reason I'm doing this is because is for two reasons. One, because there's not really going to be a rough draft period for this project. And that's because A, this is largely incorporating work that you've already done. And B, it's just kind of the nature of the time crunch at the end of the semester. And so what's going to happen is I'll be available to you guys to call me up or to schedule a conference online, and we can chat and I'll look at or talk you through whatever you need help with. Obviously, email me anything anyway, but this would be a good opportunity for you guys to get some like direct, immediate feedback. Okay, so let's take a look at the blog for this week. So the blog post for this week is going to ask you to start to kind of put your, start to think about how your proposal argument is getting put together. And so for this, I want you to upload a set of notes in which you identify key pieces of evidence from the sources you're using in your research proposal, describe how, where, and when you'll use these sources in the proposal. So essentially, what is the stuff you're pulling out of your literature review and how are you going to use it? To do this, write your proposal argument at the top. So at the top of your Word document, I want you to write out your thesis statement. I propose that. So whatever you're proposing. And then list the evidence you will use from your research to support this idea. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. So for example, if you spent Project 3 researching rising college tuition costs and your proposal idea is to provide health care to all enrolled students as a way to diminish other potential costs to the student, then your notes might look something like this. So if my idea is that I propose that the Board of Regents for the university counter the rising expense of higher ed by providing healthcare to full-time students, right? If I'm thinking of like, well, if we can't make tuition go down, maybe we can take away some of their other costs, then I'm going to have to think about, okay, so what do I need to incorporate into my essay to make that a compelling idea? Well, first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to talk about the current tuition costs. And so I could say, well, my first source that I found in my literature review talks about that. So I want to pull stuff from there. Then I'm going to think about like, okay, so like, do I know how much students are spending on healthcare already? Let's pull that in. So, okay, I've got my other source that's talking about that. I'm thinking, okay, so now I've got tuition, I've got healthcare. What are some other things that students spend money on? I'm going to need that in there too. Now, all of these together will show the kind of overall total cost students are spending while they're at college. So they can come in and say, okay, if we can take one of those away, it'll be a big deal. And so that's what I want you guys to do for your research, to think about what's your idea and then what do you need to prove that, and where, like, what evidence from your literature reviews are you going to use to prove that. Okay, so let's review. So do the reading, which will help you figure out kind of how to structure this. I'll be available for conferences, and then get your blog up. Okay, so let's look at week 12, which is our crazy last week of the semester. All right, so week 12 is a work week. The only thing that you have to do next week is to finish your Project 4. And so what's going to happen is anytime next week, but no later than Friday evening, if you email me a draft, you'll get almost immediate feedback on it. So email me a draft. I'll take a look at it. I'll give you extensive notes and ideas. Even if we had a conversation or an optional conference, you can always send stuff to me that way. And then your final Project 4 is going to be due Sunday by midnight, which is the 31st. Okay, so then let's take a look at the rest of the semester. So you'll upload Project 4 right there with your process memo as always. Okay, so then the last thing that you're going to do is this reflective letter. Now this is going to stand in basically for your final exam. There is no exam in this class, but this is kind of what counts. And so what this is just you thinking about and reflecting on your experience this semester. So you'll be responding to these set of questions and using it like evidence from your essays to support these ideas. So like prior to this class, what did you know? When enrolling in this class, what did I want to learn? Et cetera, et cetera. And so then basically all I'm asking you to do is to just think about what skills you developed this semester and use examples from your text to demonstrate this. Now this is very informal. It's very much in the vein of that midterm reflection that you did as well. Just thinking about, how's it been for you? Like, what are some things that you've accomplished? What are you proud of, essentially? And that will be due, I think, August 2nd. So again, it's not very long. There's no wrong way to do it, no wrong answer. Just make sure you're giving me a good discussion about the work you've done. Okay, so final recap, week 11, you'll be uploading your notes for Project 4. Week 12, you'll be finishing Project 4 and uploading the final draft, and then you will be doing your reflective letter, and then that is it. All right, so final housekeeping notes. In the next couple of days, you'll have Project 3 fully graded and back to you, as well as my comments on the introductions that you guys just wrote for your blog post, so stay tuned for that. Always email me if you have questions, and I will talk to you guys later.